Hello, vinyl community. This is Tommy in North Carolina, and I've got quite a few things to show you, so I'm going to run through these as quickly as I can. This past weekend was the huge yearly sale at Harvest Records in Asheville, North Carolina, one of my favorite stores. Always a great selection, great guys, and a wonderful place to visit. But they opened their basement up, and you can go in there and buy records for $1 a piece, and it's a free-for-all, lots and lots of stuff, and I grabbed a few things. But I also have some recent pickups, and I'm going to start with those. Another store in downtown Asheville you've probably heard me talk about before is a place called Static Age Records. I finally had a little time and went through some of their dollar records that are underneath their regular bins, and I found a couple of things and picked them up and thought I'd show them to you guys. Pat Benatar's first album, In the Heat of the Night, with the hit Heartbreaker on the Chrysalis label. Picked that one up. Nice, clean copy. Good late 70s pop rock record. Another artist that I kind of like a little bit, Jackie DeShannon. This is a compilation, What the World Needs Now is Love. A stereo on the Imperial Records label. Inner sleeve, The House That Johnny Built, that's Johnny Rivers. But there's Jackie DeShannon right there with the title track on there. Here's one that I'd seen a couple of times and never pulled the trigger on, but I figured for $1, why not? The Joe Chimay Band, The Riper, The Finer. Joe Chimay, LA session musician, plays bass, guitar. One of the reasons I'm familiar with Joe Chimay, and there's a picture of Joe back there. Joe Chimay played quite a bit and toured with Michael Nesmith. Played on some of Nesmith's late 70s work and 80s material. Along with Joe Chimay, this album features a couple of other Nesmith players. John Hobbs, piano player. Paul Lime, the drummer. Joe and Paul recently toured with Nez on the Movies of the Mind tour that he did a few years back. And also Luis Conte, who also played with Nez for a little bit. So it's got a Nesmith collection. It's pretty standard LA pop rock, pretty slick. It's not mind-blowing, but definitely worth a buck. Another one, an album that most of you probably have, very common album, but I did not have it. This is Boz Scaggs' Silk Degrees. I found a nice, clean copy of this and went ahead and got it on the Columbia label. Like I said, pretty common record, but definitely one that I didn't have, but now I do. So this next one is one that I got today, actually. I pre-ordered it from a deep discount a while back and forgotten about it, but it finally came in today. This is Michael Nesmith and the First National Band Redux live at the Troubadour, recorded in January of this year at the Troubadour Club in Los Angeles. Michael Nesmith resurrected the First National Band name and revisited that material and performed a few shows on the West Coast, about to do a fall tour. The liner notes there are by Nesmith, all that gold writing there. So this is a live record mixed and produced by Nez's son, Christian Nesmith, seen right there. His other son, Jonathan, also plays in the band. And Christian's partner, Cersei Link, sang backup vocals. So I'm excited to hear this on the 7A Records label, and I'm going to show you guys the vinyl because it's on colored vinyl. This nice gold colored vinyl. It's available on LP and CD. I think the CD actually comes with a book. Not sure what all the CD adds, but I know the record advertises a bonus track of Rio that's on the end of side 2. But really excited to hear this. Michael Nesmith and the First National Band Redux. So now, that stuff out of the way, let me get to the Harvest sale and all the stuff that I got for $1 down in the basement. And here is, for starters, Michael Nesmith and the First National Band. This is the third album, Nevada Fighter. Yes, I do have a copy of this. But this one's in okay shape. I may or may not do this in a VCLT. I'm always kind of looking for Nesmith stuff to give out to people if needed. In the dollar basement, Elvis and the Attractions, Elvis Costello and the Attractions, Armed Forces. A great album. I do have a copy. I don't know if this is an upgrade or not. It probably isn't. But I know that I have some of these signed by Elvis. If I can get this back in here. I haven't even cleaned these yet. And so, just to have some jackets. Same thing with this guy, Elvis and the Attractions, Get Happy, which may be my favorite of the Elvis and the Attractions. Yeah, they're not in the best shape. If anything, I may give them away, but I've got a signed copy, so just to have a jacket, that might be the way to go. This is one I didn't really realize was a mistake until later, but this is the Leonard Cohen, Songs of Leonard Cohen. But I got to looking at it, and the record inside is Songs from a Room. So I don't know what I'm going to do. It's a different record. The record looks pretty clean. So I may just be on the lookout for a jacket, but for $1, what can you do? Here's one that we're going to see again, because I grabbed 2 copies of it just because. This is a mono Beach Boys Surfing USA, but inside was the Surfing USA as well as a copy of Shutdown. Not in the best shape, but I'll explain in a few minutes what was going on with that. Burnt Weenie Sandwich, $1 principal. I got it home. I didn't really check the condition, but got it home. It's got a pretty big scratch on it, so probably going to go in the trash, but like I said, that's the problem with buying basement records for $1. This is one I was kind of bummed about because I really wanted to have a good copy of this. This is Hear My Dear by Marvin Gaye. And Jeff Party actually recently talked about this album, and it's a really interesting album. And I pulled it out and got really excited about the pressing. It looked really good, but then I realized that's a pretty bad warp, and not really going to be able to fix that. The records look clean. It's a shame because I really thought I was. But usually, chances are, if you find something for $1, there's a reason it's $1. So that one's probably going to go in the trash as well. And finally, I say finally, this isn't the last record, but A New World Record by ELO. I got this really because I thought the cover would be an upgrade because I thought my cover was messed up, but I got home and realized that my cover's okay, so this may be a VCLT as well. It's a good clean copy. It's not bad, but just one that I bought it on principle. Now we're still in the dollar records, but these are definitely my keepers. I've already cleaned these guys and plan to keep them, add them to the collection. So these are all definites. The Men at Work, Business as Usual, which I'm a big fan of Colin Hayes' writing. I think he writes really good pop songs. So that's a keeper. You Beatles fans, here you go. This is the McGear album. Mike McGear on the Warner Brothers label. Produced by this guy down in the corner, Paul McCartney. Yes, this is Paul McCartney's brother, Michael McCartney. And this is his album. So this is of interest for Beatles fans, McCartney fans, the McGear album. Little Deuce Coupe by the Beach Boys. This is an original Capitol mono rainbow label. I haven't spun it yet, but I have cleaned it, and it looks like it's probably gonna do really well. So glad to get a copy of that. So going back to the thing I was saying earlier. Surfing USA. So I Frankensteined it, basically. I found a really good jacket and a good record and put it together to make one good copy. So for $1, you can't go wrong. Those of you that watch my channel know that I'm a big fan of Randy Stonehill. So I found this Love Beyond Reason, an 80s album that he did. featuring Amy Grant, and there's a little card in there about his tour, like a little newsletter, Randy and the Rockets, the adventures of Randy and the Rockets, and how to become a Rocketeer. Mark Hurd, who I'm also a big fan of, was a player on this album. There's Mark right there. But this has Randy's version of the song he co-wrote with Keith Green, Your Love Broke Through. So, cool to get that. Mono, Jerry Lee Lewis, The Greatest Live Show on Earth on the Smash Records label. Y'all know I love The Killer, and so I don't pass up The Killer when I see him in good shape. Sorry about the focus here. I have a new phone, so I'm sorry this thing may be going in and out of focus for you, but I apologize. I haven't played with the settings enough, so forgive me if it gets blurry. So the other record that was in that Beach Boys box, I Frankenstein this one, Shut Down, Volume 1, which is a compilation. I know it's not just a Beach Boys album, but still worth having for $1. This has got Robert Mitchum, The Cheers, The Superstock. So Shut Down. This is considered to be Shut Down, Volume 1. This is a live album by Bruce Coburn, which last year, if you go back to last year's video, come on, focus, there we go. Last year's video, basement video, I grabbed quite a bit of Bruce Coburn and discovered that I'm a big fan, that I like what I've heard. So this is a double live LP. So excited to hear that from the 70s. So always picking up Coburn when I see it. And finally, from the Dollar Basement, this was just, I couldn't pass the records up. Power pop band from England. This is on the Virgin label. This is the Gatefold edition with the song, I think, Tina Rama, Starry Eyes. Really, really good stuff. My old bandmate, Danny McGregor, kind of turned me on to the records. And so when I saw this in the Dollar bin in good shape, I couldn't pass it up. So finally, a few things. It was really crowded upstairs, so I didn't do a lot of digging up there, just because I'm not a big fan of elbowing crowds, but I did grab a couple of things. A nice clean copy of Van Halen's 1984, which is an album I kind of grew up with, but it was cheap. Everything upstairs was 20% off. So in this one, I'm just going to show you is the pressing that's upside down on the back cover. So, anyway, Van Halen's 1984. Here's one that I was quite surprised to see and glad to pick up a copy. The Zombies R.I.P., which is sort of a lost album. This was a Record Store Day release from a few years ago. I never got it. Andrew Sandoval was involved with this release. But I love my Zombies. So I've seen this out there. So it's not incredibly rare. But this was incredibly cheap. Saw this one, couldn't resist it. The Who's Happy Jack. Come on, focus. There we go. Now this is an interesting one because this is on, and you can see the label, the Track Records. This was part of those twofers that MCA put out in the 70s. And what I think happened is that somebody had this album and it got pretty damaged and beat up. So they got the twofer and they stuck the twofer reissue in the original jacket. So this is only Happy Jack, but it's a nice clean copy. So I'm not too upset about it being a later pressing, because I mean the jacket's pretty good and the record is great. So I didn't have Happy Jack, so now I do. So there's that. And we're winding this up, just a couple more to show you guys. We'll be done. This is one that I'd kind of spotted in the store a little bit and kept putting it back. An album that I didn't own a copy of. Frank Zappa's Overnight Sensation on the Discreet label. Now this is of note because this is a French pressing from France, manufactured by Warner Brothers, made in France. So, yeah, import copy. But I played this one. I spun it. Plays really nice, good clean. The jacket's in great shape. So a French overnight sensation. Last but certainly not least, a record that I just pulled the trigger on. Thought I'd show you guys. This is Captain Beefheart and his Magic Band. Safe as Milk. It's a stereo copy, as you can tell by the sticker across the front. This was a radio station DJ copy, not for sale promo. Now, this isn't an original from the 60s. This is a Buddha pressing from 1970, I believe. Come on, focus, camera, focus. There we go. Sorry about the out-of-focus stuff. But really, 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 really clean copy. Plays fantastic. And, you know, this is one of those albums just probably more accessible than Trout Mask Replica, because this is more just a straight-ahead blues rock type thing. But you know this album. Comment down below. What do you think? This was the find of the day for me. So really glad to get my hands on a copy of this. And especially an original. I say an original. This particular pressing. Really, really nice. So comment down below. What do you think? Did I do good? Did I get ripped off? What are your thoughts? Let me know. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's TommyBurton75. Check out my other channel, Daily Records. This month, for the month of August, we're doing movie soundtracks over there, but a different record every single day. Short videos. You can watch them while you're having your coffee in the morning. And go subscribe to that channel, please. We have a lot of fun over there. So in the meantime, thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you again very soon.